The three different methods of solving a transportation problem is northwest corner method is first one, the second one is the least cost method, and the third one is the Vogels approximation method. The total supply is equal to total demand, therefore it is called a balanced transportation problem. If the supply is equal to the demand, then the transportation problem is said to be a balanced transportation. If the supply is not equal to the demand, then the transportation problem is said to be an unbalanced transportation. Hello dear students, welcome to this session of Operation Research OR class. I am Mr. Niranjan, faculty, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Now in this session, this is very important, that is Unit 3. In this Unit 3, we are going to discuss regarding the transportation problems, and the very important concept is the transportation problem. Here in this session, we are going to discuss regarding the different types of transportation problem and how to find the solution for a transportation problem. Now usually in this transportation problem, we are going to study three different methods. So there are three methods that can be used to solve the transportation problem. So the three important methods are northwest corner method and least cost method and Vogels method. These are the three methods which we are going to discuss in this unit. Now let us come to the first method. Before that, let us know regarding what is meant by a transportation problem. What is meant by a transportation problem? Here, just to transport the goods from one place to another place where the supply and the demand, depending upon the supply and the demand, and to minimize the cost of the supply. So here let us discuss regarding what is meant by a transportation problem. It's a special kind of linear programming problem in which goods are transferred from a set of source to the set of destination, subjected to the supply and demand of the source and the destination respectively. Here, the goods are transferred from a set of source. The goods are transferred from a set of source to the destination, subjected to the supply and the demand of the source and the destination, subjected to the supply and the demand of the source and the destination respectively, such that the total cost of the transportation is minimized. So here, whenever we are going to supply the goods to the destination, depending upon the demand, here the cost of the transportation will be minimized. Now, in order to solve the transportation problem, the following informations are very important. We have to know some information. What are the following information which you have to keep in mind for the transportation? The main feature should be followed by performing the transportation problem. The demand of various destinations should be satisfied. The demand of the various destination should be satisfied, and the second important concept is the supply constraints of various sources should not be violated. The supply of constraint to various sources should not be violated, and the very important is the minimizing the cost minimization, minimizing the cost of the transportation. So these are the main features that should be kept while performing a transportation. Now, the types of transportation, there are two types here. One is the balanced type of transportation, another one is unbalanced transportation. So, the balanced transportation problem is a type of transportation problem where the supply should be equal to the demand. If the supply is equal to demand, then the transportation problem is said to be a balanced transportation. On the other hand, unbalanced transportation problem is, it is a type of transportation problem where the supply is not equal to the demand. If the supply is not equal to the demand, then it is called an unbalanced transportation. So, here in a type of transportation problem, the balanced transportation problem means the supply should be equal to the demand. If the supply is equal to the demand, then the transportation problem is said to be a balanced transportation. If the supply is not equal to the demand, then it is called an unbalanced transportation. This is very important. Now in the examination for 2 marks they may ask, what is the balanced and unbalanced transportation? So in a balanced transportation, the supply should be equal to the demand. If the supply is equal to the demand, then the transportation problem is said to be a balanced transportation. If the supply is not equal to the demand, then the transportation problem is said to be an unbalanced transportation. So if supply is equal to demand, this is called as the balanced transportation. If supply is not equal to demand, then it is called as unbalanced transportation. Okay. Now, again further, how to solve this transportation problem, balanced and unbalanced transportation? So, types of transportation problem. In types of transportation problem, the balanced transportation problem is supply is equal to demand, and in unbalanced transportation, supply is not equal to demand. Now, methods that can be applied only if it is balanced, or if it is not balanced, we are going to add one dummy row or dummy column, so we can solve the unbalanced transportation problem. So, a balanced transportation problem can be solved directly, whereas if a given transportation problem is of unbalanced type, so to solve an unbalanced type of transportation problem, we are going to add one dummy row or dummy column in which all the elements are zeros in order to solve the given transportation problem. Now, there are 3 different methods to solve the transportation problem. So, what are the 3 different methods which we are going to use to solve the transportation problem? Or northwest corner method. This is very, very important. Northwest corner method. And the second one is the least cost. The name itself indicates the cost is selecting the least cost. And the important third one is Vogel's approximation method. VAM, Vogel's approximation method. This is called as VAM, Vogel's approximation method. So, in the examination they may ask for 2 marks. What are the different methods of solving a transportation problem? So, the 3 different methods of solving a transportation problem is northwest corner method is first one, the second one is the least cost method, and the third one is the Vogel's approximation method. Northwest corner and least cost method and Vogel's approximation. These concepts are very, very important. So, you may expect one full question from this. Either they may ask one problem to solve either from northwest corner or least cost method or Vogel's approximation method, and in addition to that they may ask step-by-step procedure to solve any one of these 3 methods. So, you will get one question for finding the solution and one more question that is nothing but step-by-step procedure of finding the solution. So, definitely you will get 8 plus 7, 15 marks question from this concept. Now, let us discuss in detail regarding the first method, that is called as the northwest corner. The name itself indicates we are selecting the northwest element. So, here north, south, then it is east and west. So, we are selecting the element here. So, that is the name itself indicates northwest. So, the topmost element, left topmost element. So, we are choosing the left topmost element to perform the operation and to get the solution. Now, let us come to the step-by-step procedure of this northwest corner method. Step-by-step procedure to solve this northwest corner method. Solution, solve or solution to find the solution to find in this northwest corner method. So, in the examination they may ask, explain the step-by-step procedure to solve northwest corner method, or to find the solution, how to find the solution using northwest corner method. So, the step-by-step procedure. Now, in the first step, select a northwest cell, left topmost cell. This is the left topmost cell. This is nothing but north, south, east, west. We are going to select the northwest cell. This is the northwest cell, that is left uppermost cell. Select an element which is in northwest corner, that is nothing but the left uppermost cell, left top corner, the element in the left top corner. After selecting, check the demand and supply. Check demand and supply for that particular element. After checking the supply and demand for that particular element, allocate the least value and make the changes in demand and supply. So that is, check, just find out the least value in supply and demand. Check demand and supply value, allocate the least value and make the changes in demand and supply. So find out the least value either in supply or demand, allocate and make the changes. So now the next step, step number 3, if supply is equal to 0, then the row is cancelled. Cancel all the elements in that particular row. If the demand is equal to 0, then cancel that particular column. That means all the elements in that particular column is cancelled. So if the supply is equal to 0, then that row is cancelled. In the sense, all the elements in that row is cancelled. And if the demand is equal to 0, then all the elements in that particular column is cancelled. This is very important concept. Now, after that cancellation, perform the remaining cell, select the northwest corner cell and repeat the step. After cancellation, go to the next step. In the next step, select as usual, select the northwest element and perform the operation by selecting the least value in supply and demand, allocate it, and again if that particular row or column is 0, cancel the elements. That's it. So this operation, step-by-step operation is continued until at the end the supply and the demand is 0. If you get the supply is equal to 0 and the demand is also equal to 0, then you can find the cost of the transportation. We can find out the cost of the transportation. This is how we are going to solve. So this is called the step-by-step method for solving a transportation problem, that is called the northwest corner method. Okay, hope you followed this. Now let us take a small example to solve this type of problem. Here there are two methods, two steps: finding the initial basic feasible solution and finding the optimization of the given LPP. Finding the initial basic feasible solution and finding the optimization. To find the basic feasible solution, we are going to perform the operation, that is nothing but north, south, east and west, northwest. Select the element in the northwest and supply and demand, just verify, find out the least value in supply and demand and allocate. Just go on performing the step-by-step operations procedure. That's it. Now let us come to a problem. Now find the initial basic feasible solution by northwest corner method. Find the initial basic feasible solution of this transportation problem by northwest corner method. This is very important problem for 8 marks. This is an 8-mark question. Very important. You may expect this type of question for the point of examination. Now just see what is the problem given. Here this is the supply. So what is that? D1, D2, D3, D4 are the demand. S1, S2, S3, S4 are the supply. So here in S1 row we have 3, 1, 7, 4 and the supply is 300. Here in the S2 row we have 2, 6, 5, 9 as the demand. The supply is 400. And in the S3 row we have 8, 3, 3, 2 and the supply is equal to 500. Here the demand is 250, 350, 400 and 200. This is the problem given. What is the problem given? On one side we have the demand, on the other side we have the supply. This is the supply. Supply 300, 400, 500 and the demand is 250, 350, 400 and 200. Now check whether it is a balanced or not. To find whether it is a balanced transportation problem, what is the procedure? Check whether supply is equal to demand. If the supply is equal to demand, then it is a balanced transportation. If the supply is not equal to demand, then it is called an unbalanced transportation. Now verify whether this is a balanced or unbalanced transportation. So how to verify? Just add the supply. What is the supply? Total supply here 500 plus 400 is 900. 900 plus 300 is 1200. The supply is 1200. Now verify the demand. What is the demand here? 250 plus 350 is equal to 600. 600 plus 400 is 1000. 1000 plus 200 is 1200. So this is 1200. That means the demand is equal to supply. 1200 is equal to 1200. Therefore, it is a balanced transportation problem. This is the first step. So the given problem is a balanced transportation because the supply is equal to demand. The total supply is equal to total demand. Therefore, it is called a balanced transportation problem. Now, let us go to this method, northwest corner method. Now, I will go to the next page. So, here the total supply is 1200 and the demand is also equal to 1200. Therefore, this is a balanced transportation. Now, according to the step-by-step procedure, first find out the northwest element. Here the first northwest element is 3. 3 is the northwest element. For this, just allocate, just check what is the demand 250, what is the supply 300, which is minimum, 250 is minimum. So, you can allocate 250 here. Okay, see, listen to me. First step, first identify the northwest element. Here this is north and this is west. Identify this element. The first element, northwest top left topmost element of the table is 3, and for this particular row and column identify the demand and the supply, which is minimum. Here demand is 250 and supply is equal to 300. So just allocate 250 here. So after allocating 250, you can write 250 here. 250 minus 250 gets cancelled, 0. Again here 300 minus 250, the balance supply is 50. So according to the step, if the supply or the demand is equal to 0, you can cancel that particular row or column. Since all the values in D1, here D1 is 0, the demand is satisfied, hence we can cancel all the elements in this particular column. Now let us come to the next. Now let's find out the next northwest element. The next northwest element is 1. Here the next northwest element is 1. Just see what is the demand and the supply. Here the demand is 350 and the supply is 50. The minimum of 350 and 50 is 50. You can allocate 50 here. So once if you allocate 50, 50 minus 50, this is equal to 0. You can put 50 here, minus 50, you will get 300. Okay, see, after finding this, just come to the next step. Find out the northwest element. The northwest element is 1, and find out the least value in supply and the demand. So the supply is least 50. You can allocate 50 here, and 50 minus 50 gets cancelled, 0. 350 minus 50 is equal to 300. So here this is 0. Once this is 0 means you can cancel all the elements here. Okay, you can cancel all the elements here. Now again in the next step, identify the northwest element. Here the next northwest element is 6. Find out the supply and the demand. Demand is 300 and the supply is 400, which is minimum. 300 is minimum. You can allocate 300 here. 300 minus 300, this is equal to 0. Here this is 400 minus 300 is equal to 100. Okay, just find out the next northwest element. 6 is the northwest element. Find out the least value in supply and the demand. 350 is the least value. We are going to subtract 300 from this. 300 minus 300 is 0. Once if all the elements are 0, we can cancel this. Here 400 minus 300 is equal to 100. Now again go to the next step, next procedure, same procedure. Identify the northwest element. Northwest element is 5, and find out the minimum value in supply and the demand. This is 100 is minimum. You can allocate 100 here. So 400 minus 100 is 300. Here 100 minus 100, this is equal to 0. If this is equal to 0 means you can cancel this row also. Okay. Now next northwest element is 3, and find out the least value between the supply and the demand. The least value here is 300. So in between 300 500, the least value is 300. You can subtract 300. You can allocate 300 here. So this gets cancelled 0. You can allocate 300 here. 500 minus 300 is 200. Once this is 0 means you can cancel this also. Okay. See here, and in the last, the supply and the demand must be balanced. Here the supply is 200, demand is also 200. So I can allocate 200 here. This 200 minus 200 is 0, and this is also equal to 0. So at the end, what is the answer we are going to get? Here is supply and the demand must be same. So 200 is equal to 200. The supply is also 200, demand is also 200. Hence here all the conditions are satisfied. So now just how to find the solution? Now here, after performing this operation, find out the cost of the transportation. Now to find the cost of the transportation, so is equal to, just find out the values. Now multiply these elements. So these are the answer points we are going to get. This is 1, then where we have allocated in this column nothing, this is the next, here we have allocated, we can use this, that is 1 into 50 plus 3 into 250, here also we have allocated these two. Again here this is 300 into 6, this is also allocated, we have utilized this cell also. Then here this one also, then this one, then this cell. So these are the allocations. Now find out the cost of the transportation. So how to find the cost of the transportation? Very simple. So 3 into 250 plus 1 into 50 plus 6 into 300 plus 5 into 100 plus 3 into 300 plus 2 into 200. The total cost will give the transportation cost. That's it. Okay. Now that is 3 into 250, 3 into 250 plus 1 into 50 plus 6 into 300 plus 5 into 100 plus 3 into 300 plus last 2 into 200. Simplify this. This is equal to 250 into 3 is 750. 50 into 1 is 50. 6 into 300. 6 3s are 18,800. 5 into 100 is 500 plus 300 into 3 is 900 plus 200 into 2 is 400. Add this. 750 plus 50 is 800. 800 plus 1800. 1800. This is equal to, again, so 500 plus 400, 900 plus 900, 1800. Add this, 0 0. 8 plus 6 is 4, 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4, 4400. 4004. So therefore the cost of the transportation is rupees 4400. This is the cost of the transportation. This is the method how we are going to solve a transportation problem. So hope you followed. This is how we are going to solve a transportation problem using northwest corner method. Hope you followed. Okay, that's all. Just find out northwest element and find out the minimum value, least value in the supply and the demand. Just allocate it. If it is 0, then cancel the entire row and column, particular row and particular column depending upon the supply and the demand. If it is supply is 0 and demand is 0, just identify which row is to be cancelled or which column is to be cancelled. Just go on performing the operation until you will get supply and demand is equal to 0 and find out the cost of the transportation. So this is the cost of the so just multiply this and add. So if you multiply and add, you will get the cost of the this itself, this yellow lines indicates the sum of this indicates the cost of the transportation. That's it. So that's regarding this session. Let us meet with a few more examples in the next session. Thank you very much.